Alright guys, welcome back to the Play On Footy channel. My name's Bailey. Today we're going to be doing the AFL Ladder Predictions, so let's get into it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and we'll get into the first one, which will be last place. I believe the Eagles would be in last place, and I also believe that, drumroll, North Melbourne will be in second last place. Reason being, I just think these two teams lack depth, and I think as well as experience. I think they've both got sort of ability to move up, but just not this season. I don't think they've got the depth or sort of the talent to get them near the top at all. So I'm going these two teams for bottom two. The next one is the Bombers. Same thing. I just don't think Brad Scott's really the right coach for them, and I'm just not as optimistic as I was for them a couple of years ago. But can they get to play finals? Who knows? Probably not. Be interesting to see their game style and see if they're actually hardened up around the ball, because they were so soft last year, especially that incident with Luke Park and Dylan Shields. I'm not sold on them, and I just don't think they've got what it takes to really bring it to the top level this year. Next one's Richmond. Same thing. I think they've just lost their depth. Obviously, losing Hardwick and then Brendan Gale as well. I just don't think there's a lot of trust or sort of belief around the club anymore, and they've probably got players that really should have been moved on. I want to do a separate video on that just to show and showcase, the older players who should be moving on at the end of this year to make way for some younger talent, which they just don't have, except for Gipkiss. The next one above the Richmond Tigers is Hawks. I honestly believe Sam Mitchell's Hawks are really going to take a bit of a, they're going to really ride the wave this year and really climb the ladder. And I think, they've got a lot of depth down back. They've got Sicily in the leadership position that can really lead them forward. And I think their forward line structure now, they've got Jack Ginnivan's really going to add a bit of spark, which was missing in previous years. And obviously they've got Chad Wingard that was, that's injured, so that he comes in to replace him, which is really good. And I think that around the centre, they've got some really good, bulls like Jai Newcomb, which I'm really keen to see this year. So I'm tipping Hawks to be up the ladder this year for sure. Just above the Hawks, I've got Freo. I think Freo, again, I know they're lacking Sean Darcy in the middle because of his knee injury, but I still think they can, make up without him. And I know it puts a bit more pressure on Luke Jackson because he's more of a, forward half sort of midfield player, but to have him in the ruck, hopefully he can generate some clearances and a bit of spark like you saw the other weekend with Grundy. But again, it'll be interesting to see what Justin Longmuir does with Fife, and obviously he's nearing the end of his career, just to see where he's going to put him back on ball, where he won 2 Brownlows, he's going to move him up forward like he did in previous years. But hopefully his body holds up. But I think they've still got some, reasonably good depth as long as they don't lose players at the end of the year. Next one is the Western Bulldogs. I think with Luke Beveridge and all the drama that's surrounding the team and Bailey Smith out with an ACL, I just don't think that even with Jamara Ugle-Hagen's probably career best season this year, I don't think they'll be able to play finals. And I know they missed out by 1 spot last year and they've got the bond, but I just don't think they're going to be anywhere near September this year. And I think it's all going to be internal pressure from Chris Grant and Luke Beveridge. So I just don't think it's going to be a good season for the Doggies. But I'm optimistic that potentially that with the change of coach and culture and leadership, that some things will change for the next season. But I've got them placed 12th this season. Next one's the Cats. A sort of same with Richmond. I know they've got a bit of an aging list, but I do feel like Chris Scott's obviously a way better coach than Adam Uze at this point in time. But I feel like the Cats will probably sneak into 11th, and hopefully, all barring no injuries to their list. They've got Tanner Bruin that's moved from GWS, he's a good young talent, and Oliver Henry as well from Magpies. So things looking up, but there will be a long list of players that will retire into this season, I guarantee it. So I'm going to go with 11th for the Cats. In 10th spot, I've got the Adelaide Crows. I feel like the centre line is probably lacking a lot of speed and agility in centre clearance as well. I think with, they've got Brian, which is their hit-out king, but I just don't feel like, even watching the community games, I just don't think, even though they've got forward pressure with Isaac Rankinen, I just don't feel like they're going to really cut the mustard this year. I know they've missed out by a spot last year, but I feel like the same story this year. I just don't feel like Adelaide really has a certain type of player that can take them to the next level to play finals and do really well. When you've got Tex that kicked a big bag last year, all in all, but he's nearing the end of his career. It's probably his last season. So I'm going to go Adelaide 10th place there. In 9th place, you've got Melbourne Demons. I just feel like the cultural sort of aspect to the Melbourne Demons is really in jeopardy, and you've got Max Gorm that's got a lot of weight on his shoulders this season, literally and metaphorically, now that they've got no Grundy. And And in that first game where you saw, Grundy really tear Max Gawn apart, I just feel that's symbolic of where Melbourne's heading on the ladder, which is down. And I feel like they'll be, the one just to miss out on the 8, sitting at 9th place. So, unfortunately, I just don't think, Goody's going to have a fantastic year this season. And whether or not it's his last, who knows. But, it's going to take a lot to bounce back from there, I think. And, they've got talent there. I just don't think it's being accessed properly, and they really should have done better considering the list that they've had over the last couple of years as well. So, it's coming from a team that's really never left Perth in a mental aspect. They won the 2021 grand final, but I feel like for them it's going to be trying to get that next new wave of young players, but also utilise what they've got already, which again I just don't see happening this year. In 8th place, they've got Ross Lyon Sainers. I think they're going to have a really good year. But they're going to just scrape through to finals. And I think, they've got that young, talented list, which, Ross is really, really known for in cultivating and nurturing as well. So, I really think that they will be playing finals this year. And I think Machida Owens is going to have a big impact on that result, as well as Rowan Marshall in the ruck. So, definitely watch that space. I believe also one of the King brothers, Max King, I think, who plays for St Kilda, is going to have a really good year and is going to kick a big bag of goals and be that pressure forward that they really need in the absence of Nick Rewalt that's left so many years ago. So they really need someone like that up forward, and Higgins as well, just being that sort of pressure sort of small forward as well. So I really think Saints are going to sneak into finals this year and potentially compete. Whether or not they get to the prelim, I don't think so at this stage, but 8th place for sure. In 7th spot, I got Port Adelaide. Ken Ingley's Port Adelaide. Again, they're going to be competitive this year. Whether or not they take it to the next level and capitalise on every opportunity is yet to be seen. But I definitely believe that Jason Hall-Francis is going to have a big breakout year in the middle, and they're going to be really capitalising on having Soldo in the middle, in the ruck, just trying to get those clearances out in the absence of Scotty Lyson, who retired. So I think all in all, if they get Mitch Georgiades back in the forward line as well after the ACL, I think they should be really, competitive. And then, just trying to get a bit of momentum going forward into September and just being consistent in those games and not letting things slip. So, I put them into 7th at the moment. I put Lions in 6th place, last year's grand finalists. And, I just think that, they've got a lot of things to work on. I know it's early on in the season. But the first game against Carlton was pretty telling of where they are mentally. And if that's where they are mentally, I think it's going to be a long sort of season. They will obviously contend for the finals. They've got a talented enough list. But it's really the synergy, as Adam Simpson would say, the synergy with the first sort of forward line with Joe Danaher as well as Eric Hipwood. I just don't see those guys really being big impact players. And I think that's what they really missed in the grand final last year, as someone that could just stand out. It happened to be for Collingwood Bobby Hill, but if Brisbane Lions had someone that just stood up at the right time, big forward, the result could have been different. So it's 1% of little things, and I just think that Brisbane are going to slip a little bit because of that this year. Another Queensland team, the Gold Coast Suns, I put in 5th. I think with Damien Hardwick, the sky's the limit, and I think they've got a talented enough list with a good balance of basically, younger talent, mature aged sort of talent, and then, a bit of a blend all through the middle. So, I think that's what's really going in the Suns' favour. And if they can, maintain and get a bit of momentum heading into September, I think they can sit 5th quite easily. Put Collingwood in 4th place, last year's grand final winners, and I feel that, obviously big statement game against GWS, and GWS really put the foot down early and put Collingwood to sleep. But with Collingwood, they did come back a little bit later in the game to make it a reasonable sort of amount. But I just feel like, Collingwood will slip a little bit this year, whether it's a premiership hangover or it's other teams catching on to their game style and game plan is yet to be seen. But I feel like they're in 4th spot. 3rd spot this year is Carlton. I think Carlton really mentally under Vossi have sort of capitalised on where they went wrong last year, and they're going to be really leading the charge this year to rectify their wrongdoings. And they've got a talented enough list with Kerner up forward and stuff that kick a bag. So I feel like them going forward will have a good season this year. Next is Sydney. I think Sydney are in that same sort of boat as of Carlton. They've got a good balance of young talent with mature age recruits. and I feel like they're in a position now where they can really, especially with Grundy on board, and Taylor Adams as well when he comes back, will definitely have that depth, and they've got plenty of choices all around the ground. As long as they link up with their forwards and they all contribute equally, I don't see them A, missing the finals, and B, not challenging for the top spot for grand final this year. I think they're really in their window, and yeah, I think it's their, if it's anyone's year, it's their year for sure. And last but not least, on top we've got GWS. I think GWS, with Toby Green as their spiritual leader, Jesse Hogan looks like he's fit and firing. Adam Kingsley is really proving himself as a coach. I think anything's possible for this year. I think anything's possible for this year for the Giants. So yeah, buckle in and get ready for a big season, I reckon. What do you guys reckon? Am I close or too far away from the order that you thought? Leave a comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.